Alright, let's go. Number 10. The object that shouldn't exist. In 2004, astronomers using the Spitzer Space Telescope detected something in the constellation Fornax that defied every model of early universe formation, a fully mature galaxy, designated HUDF-JD2, sitting at a redshift of 6.5, meaning its light had traveled for over 12.8 billion years to reach us. The universe was barely 900 million years old when this galaxy already contained hundreds of billions of stars arranged in an organized spiral structure. The problem is straightforward. Stars take time to form. Galaxies take longer. The standard model of cosmic evolution requires billions of years for gravitational collapse, stellar ignition, and galactic assembly to produce a structure this complex. HUDF-JD2 completed the process in a fraction of that time. It's the equivalent of finding a skyscraper fully constructed on a building site where the concrete was poured yesterday. Subsequent observations with the Hubble Space Telescope confirmed the galaxy's distance and mass. This wasn't an instrumental error or a misidentified object. Something in the early universe assembled matter into a massive, organized structure faster than our physics can explain. What makes this discovery particularly unsettling is what it implies about our understanding of cosmic history. If galaxies this large existed this early, the processes governing structure formation in the universe operate according to rules we haven't identified. The forces that shaped the first billion years of reality are not the forces we've written into our equations. We're not missing a detail. We're missing a mechanism. Something fundamental about how the universe builds itself that we haven't even begun to comprehend. The deeper astronomers look into the early cosmos, the more of these impossible objects they find. Each one a silent contradiction of everything we thought we knew about how reality assembled itself from nothing. Number 9. The cold spot. In 2004, a team led by astronomer Patricio Vielva at the University of Cantabria in Spain identified an anomaly in the cosmic microwave background radiation. The oldest light in the universe emitted 380,000 years after the Big Bang. A region in the constellation Eridanus spanning 1.8 billion light-years across was significantly colder than the surrounding cosmic background. Not by a dramatic margin, roughly 70 microkelvin below average, but in a universe where temperature variations at that scale should be vanishingly small, this void represented something that shouldn't be there. The cosmic microwave background is supposed to be uniform. It's the thermal afterglow of creation itself, stretched across the entire sky with only the tiniest fluctuations predicted by inflationary theory. The cold spot violates that uniformity at a scale that makes random chance extraordinarily unlikely. Statistical analyses place the probability of this anomaly occurring naturally at roughly 1 in 200, uncommon enough that most physicists refuse to dismiss it as coincidence. In 2015, astronomer Istvan Sapudi at the University of Hawaii proposed an explanation: a supervoid, a region of space largely empty of matter, 1.8 billion light-years across, could cause photons passing through it to lose energy and appear colder. His team found evidence of such a void aligned with the cold spot, but subsequent analysis showed the supervoid alone couldn't account for the full temperature deficit. Something else was contributing to the anomaly. What makes the cold spot truly disturbing is the alternative explanation. Theoretical physicist Laura Mersini Houghton at the University of North Carolina proposed that the cold spot represents a bruise, a point where another universe pressed against our own during the earliest moments of existence. If the multiverse is real, collisions between adjacent universes would leave exactly this kind of imprint in the cosmic microwave background, a cold region where energy was transferred from our universe into another. We might be looking at the scar left by contact with a reality that exists alongside ours, separated by dimensions we cannot access, visible only in the faintest thermal whisper left on the oldest light in existence. Number 8. The signal from nothing. On August 15, 1977, astronomer Jerry Ammon was reviewing data from Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope when he circled a sequence of characters on a printout and wrote a single word in the margin. Wow. The telescope had detected a narrowband radio signal 30 times louder than the background noise of deep space, lasting exactly 72 seconds, originating from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. The signal's frequency was 1,420 MHz, the emission frequency of neutral hydrogen, precisely the channel scientists had predicted an intelligent civilization would use to announce its presence. Every natural explanation has been tested and eliminated. Comets, satellites, terrestrial interference, known astronomical sources, none match the signal's characteristics. The frequency was too precise. The intensity was too focused. The duration matched exactly what a deep space transmission would look like passing through a fixed radio telescope as Earth rotated. Yet the signal never repeated. Astronomers pointed every available instrument at the source coordinates for decades. Nothing. Whatever produced the WOW signal either transmitted once and went silent, or was never there to begin with. What makes this discovery uniquely chilling is the paradox it creates. The signal perfectly matches every theoretical prediction for extraterrestrial communication, yet its singular occurrence defies the logic of intentional contact. A civilization broadcasting to be found would repeat its message. A natural phenomenon would recur. The WOW signal did neither. It appeared once with characteristics too perfect to be natural and too brief to be confirmed, then vanished into permanent silence. We received what looks exactly like a deliberate transmission from an intelligent source 200 light-years away, and for nearly 50 years, the cosmos has refused to send another word. The silence that followed the signal is more disturbing than the signal itself. Number 7. The stars that vanished. In 2019, a research team led by Beatrice Villarroel at Stockholm University published findings from the vanishing and appearing sources during a Century of Observations project known as VASCO. The team compared astronomical surveys from the 1950s with modern observations and discovered something that should be impossible. Approximately 100-point sources of light visible in older sky surveys had simply disappeared. Stars don't vanish. They explode as supernovae, leaving detectable remnants. They collapse into neutron stars or black holes, processes that produce observable signatures across multiple wavelengths. They fade over millions of years as they exhaust their fuel, but they don't simply switch off like a light, leaving nothing behind. No remnant, no debris, no afterglow. Yet that's exactly what the data showed. Objects that once emitted enough light to be recorded on photographic plates were no longer there when modern telescopes looked at the same coordinates. 100 points of light erased from the sky without explanation. Natural astrophysics offers no clean mechanism for this. A star massive enough to be seen from interstellar distances cannot disappear without a trace in a matter of decades. The energy involved in stellar processes demands observable consequences. Something happened to these objects, and whatever that something is, it left no evidence we can detect. What makes this discovery particularly unsettling is the scale of its implications. The VASCO project has only examined a fraction of available sky survey data. If the rate of vanishing objects holds across the entire observable sky, thousands of light sources may have disappeared during the last century alone. Something is removing stars from the universe, or obscuring them, or deactivating them through a process we have no framework to understand. The researchers themselves acknowledge the most disturbing possibility in their paper. If these disappearances aren't natural, they could represent the activity of an intelligence operating on stellar scales, civilizations capable of engineering stars out of existence for purposes we cannot begin to imagine. Number 6. The dark flow. In 2008, a team led by astrophysicist Alexander Kashlinsky at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center discovered that hundreds of galaxy clusters spanning a region of space over 3 billion light-years across were all streaming in the same direction at roughly 600 kilometers per second. The motion couldn't be explained by any gravitational source within the observable universe. Every galaxy, every cluster, every massive structure we can see was accounted for in the calculations. None of them could produce this movement. Something beyond the boundary of the observable universe, beyond the cosmic horizon that represents the absolute limit of what light has had time to reach us since the Big Bang, was pulling matter toward it with immense gravitational force. The team called it dark flow. The concept challenges the foundational assumption of modern cosmology, the cosmological principle, which states that the universe is roughly uniform in all directions at large scales. Dark flow suggests it isn't. Something enormous and fundamentally different exists beyond the edge of what we can observe, exerting influence on our universe from a region of reality we will never be able to see. What makes this finding genuinely disturbing is its resistance to explanation. In 2010 and 2013, Kashlinsky's team confirmed the signal using independent datasets. The motion persisted. The direction remained consistent. The velocity didn't diminish with distance, as it should if the source were any known structure within our cosmic neighborhood. Critics argued the signal was statistical noise. Some analyses using different methodologies failed to reproduce it. The scientific community remains divided. But if dark flow is real, the implications are profound and uncomfortable. Our entire observable universe, everything we've ever detected, mapped, studied, and measured, might be falling toward something we cannot see, cannot reach, and cannot comprehend. Every galaxy, including our own, drifting inexorably toward a gravitational source that exists in a region of reality permanently beyond our observation. We're not stationary observers studying a passive cosmos. We're passengers on a current we didn't know existed, flowing toward a destination we can never identify. Number 5. Oumuamua. On October 19, 2017, astronomer Robert Warwick at the University of Hawaii detected the first known interstellar object to pass through our solar system, designated 1I/2017 U1 and later named Oumuamua. The object defied classification from the moment it was observed. Its shape was extraordinary, roughly 400 meters long but only 40 meters wide, a 10-to-1 length-to-width ratio, unlike any known natural asteroid or comet. It tumbled through our solar system on a hyperbolic trajectory, its meaning it came from outside and was passing through, never to return. Then it did something that no one could explain. As Oumuamua moved away from the sun, it accelerated, not by a dramatic amount, but measurably, detectably, in a way that defied the gravitational mechanics that should have been slowing it down. Comets accelerate when solar heat vaporizes their surface ice, creating jets of gas that push them forward. But Oumuamua showed no coma, no tail, no outgassing of any kind. Every telescope trained on the object confirmed the same thing. It was accelerating without any visible propulsion mechanism. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb published a paper in 2018 proposing what most scientists considered unthinkable. The non-gravitational acceleration could be explained if Oumuamua was a thin, flat object being pushed by solar radiation pressure, essentially a light sail. This would require it to be extraordinarily thin relative to its surface area, a configuration that doesn't occur naturally in any known astrophysical process, but is exactly the design you'd use for a spacecraft propelled by starlight. The scientific establishment pushed back immediately. Natural explanations were proposed: hydrogen ice sublimation, tidal fragmentation, exotic molecular outgassing. Each theory solved one anomaly while creating others. No single natural model has successfully accounted for Oumuamua's shape, acceleration, lack of outgassing, and reflective properties simultaneously. What makes this encounter uniquely chilling is its finality. Oumuamua is gone. It passed through our solar system in weeks and is now receding into interstellar space at 87 kilometers per second, far beyond the reach of any spacecraft we could launch. Whatever it was, natural or artificial, we will never get a closer look. We had one chance to study the first object confirmed to have originated outside our solar system, and we lacked the technology to reach it in time. It arrived unannounced, behaved in ways we couldn't explain, and disappeared into the void before we could determine what it was. The cosmos sent us something, and we don't know if it was a rock or a message. Number 4, the Boötes void. In 1981, astronomer Robert Kirshner and colleagues at the University of Michigan published a paper revealing a region of space in the constellation Boötes that contained almost nothing. Spanning approximately 330 million light-years in diameter, it is one of the largest known structures, or rather absences of structure, in the observable universe. To grasp the scale, our entire Milky Way galaxy is roughly 100,000 light-years across. You could line up over 3,000 Milky Ways across the diameter of the Boötes void. Inside this colossal expanse, astronomers found only 60 galaxies, where the average density of the universe would predict roughly 2,000. The emptiness is staggering. If our galaxy were located at the center of the Boötes void, we would not have discovered the existence of other galaxies until the 1960s. The night sky would contain almost nothing, a black dome with a handful of faint smudges barely visible to the most powerful telescopes. Humanity would have spent its entire history believing we were alone in an empty cosmos. The standard explanation invokes cosmic voids, natural underdense regions that form as matter gravitates toward filaments and nodes in the cosmic web. But the Boötes void is too large, too empty, and too spherical to sit comfortably within that framework. Simulations of cosmic structure formation struggle to produce voids this extreme, without invoking conditions that create other problems elsewhere in the model. What makes this absence particularly disturbing is a proposal that sits at the extreme edge of scientific speculation. In 1987, cosmologist Greg Aldering suggested that the void's properties were consistent with an expanding shell of galactic colonization, a civilization or group of civilizations that had consumed, restructured, or enclosed the stars and galaxies within this region for purposes requiring energy on scales we can barely calculate. The galaxies aren't missing. They've been used. Most astronomers dismiss this as unfounded speculation. There's no direct evidence of engineering on this scale, and natural formation processes can produce large voids given sufficient time, but the Boötes void remains anomalously large, anomalously empty, and anomalously regular in shape. It sits in our sky like a hole punched through the fabric of the cosmos. 330 million light-years of almost nothing where something should be, silently resisting every complete explanation we've offered for its existence. Number 3, fast radio bursts. In 2007, astronomer Duncan Lorimer at West Virginia University discovered something buried in archival data from the Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia. A single burst of radio energy lasting just 5 milliseconds had arrived from a source billions of light-years away, releasing more energy in that fraction of a second than our sun produces in decades. He called it a fast radio burst. In the years since, astronomers have detected hundreds more. Most appear once and never repeat, blazing across the radio spectrum from cosmological distances and then vanishing. A few sources do repeat, but irregularly, with no discernible pattern. The energy involved is almost incomprehensible. Each burst packs the power output of hundreds of millions of suns into a window shorter than the blink of an eye. Magnetars, highly magnetized neutron stars, became the leading natural explanation after a burst was detected from a magnetar within our own galaxy in 2020, but this explanation doesn't account for all the observed properties. Some bursts show structures within their millisecond duration, pulses arriving with precise timing that suggests a mechanism more organized than a simple magnetic eruption. Others originate from environments that don't match magnetar models, from regions of space where no neutron star should exist. What makes fast radio bursts genuinely unsettling is their sheer volume and our inability to fully explain them. As detection technology improves, astronomers estimate that roughly 10,000 fast radio bursts occur across the observable universe every single day. The cosmos is saturated with these signals, each one a brief scream of energy from billions of light years away, most of them never repeating. We've cataloged the phenomenon, we've proposed mechanisms, but no single model accounts for every observed burst, and the non-repeating ones remain the deepest mystery. Each one fires once from an unimaginable distance, delivers more energy than our star produces in years, and then the source goes permanently silent. 10,000 times a day, something in the deep universe briefly shouts with the power of entire galaxies, and then says nothing ever again. Number 2. The Great Attractor. In 1973, astronomers conducting large-scale galaxy surveys noticed something wrong with the motion of the Milky Way. Our galaxy, along with every galaxy in a region spanning hundreds of millions of light years, was moving toward a specific point in the sky near the constellation Centaurus at roughly 600 kilometers per second. The source of this gravitational pull was invisible to optical telescopes, because it sits directly behind the densest part of our own galaxy in a region astronomers call the zone of avoidance, where the Milky Way's dust and stars block our view of whatever lies beyond. In 1986, a team of astronomers known as the Seven Samurai, led by Alan Dressler, published a landmark study confirming the anomaly and naming its source the Great Attractor. Something with the gravitational mass of tens of thousands of galaxies was pulling everything in our cosmic neighborhood toward it. X-ray observations eventually revealed the Norma Cluster, a massive galaxy cluster sitting near the projected center, but subsequent measurements showed the Norma Cluster alone couldn't account for the observed motion. It was massive, but not massive enough. The gravitational influence extended across a volume of space far larger than any single cluster could dominate. What makes the Great Attractor genuinely disturbing is that after 5 decades of observation, we still cannot fully see what's pulling us. The zone of avoidance obscures approximately 20% of the observable sky from optical telescopes. Infrared and X-ray surveys have peeled back some of that curtain, revealing additional galaxy clusters and superclusters in the region, but the total observed mass still falls short of what's needed to produce the measured velocity. The math doesn't balance. Something is there that we haven't identified, hidden behind the plane of our own galaxy. It's massive enough to drag hundreds of millions of galaxies toward it across hundreds of millions of light years. We're moving toward it right now at 600 kilometers per second. Every galaxy around us is moving toward it, and we cannot clearly see what it is. The universe's largest known gravitational anomaly sits in the one direction we can't properly observe, pulling everything in our region of space toward a destination we've been approaching for billions of years and still can't fully resolve. Number 1. The Axis of Evil. In 2005, physicist Kate Land and astrophysicist João Magejo at Imperial College London published a paper with a deliberately provocative title. They had identified an alignment in the cosmic microwave background radiation, the oldest light in existence, that should not be there. The largest patterns in this primordial radiation, structures spanning the entire observable universe, appeared to be organized around a specific axis, an axis that aligned with the plane of Earth's orbit around the Sun. This became known as the Axis of Evil because its existence threatens the foundational assumption of modern cosmology, the Copernican principle, the idea that Earth occupies no special position in the universe. The cosmic microwave background is light from 380,000 years after the Big Bang, emitted when the universe was a nearly uniform plasma 13.8 billion years ago. Its patterns should have no relationship whatsoever to our solar system, which wouldn't exist for another 9 billion years. The probability of this alignment occurring by coincidence has been estimated at roughly 1 in 1,000. The largest scale structures in the oldest light in the universe appear oriented toward a planet that wouldn't form for billions of years after that light was emitted. Every attempt to dismiss the anomaly has failed to eliminate it entirely. Scientists tested for foreground contamination from our galaxy. They checked for systematic errors in the instruments. They reanalyzed the data using multiple independent pipelines. The European Space Agency's Planck satellite, launched in 2009 with far superior instruments to its predecessors, confirmed the alignment existed in its own dataset. The axis persisted across different telescopes, different analysis methods, and different research teams. What makes this discovery profoundly unsettling is the hierarchy of explanations it demands. If it's a statistical fluke, it's an extraordinarily unlikely one that has survived every attempt at debunking. If it's caused by some unknown foreground effect, that effect has eluded identification by the most sophisticated astronomical instruments ever built. And if it's real, if the largest patterns in the oldest light in the universe genuinely align with Earth's orbital plane, then either our understanding of the Big Bang, the cosmic microwave background, or our position in the universe is fundamentally wrong. The universe is supposed to look the same in every direction. The Copernican principle, the cornerstone of modern cosmology, insists that we are not special, not centered, not significant on a cosmic scale. The axis of evil quietly suggests otherwise, something in the deepest structure of reality imprinted on the oldest light that exists, and appears to point toward us. And for 2 decades, the scientific community has been unable to explain why. The cosmos doesn't care about Earth. It shouldn't know we're here. Yet the most ancient signal in the universe seems to be organized around the exact spot where we happen to be standing. No one has an explanation, and that silence from a scientific community that always has an answer might be the most unsettling discovery of all. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now and make sure to subscribe.